There's another one. Jeez, man. What are we drinking tonight?
We're getting wild tonight, man. We got the San Pellegrino Limonada.
Jesus Christ, I got these Mountain Dew Zero Sugars.
Okay, normally I'm all about what you're drinking. I just happened to get these today.
Those are good.
I hadn't had these in about a year, man. So it was about time I had some. I just thought about them today.
Share your link.
You share your link.
You share your link. You share you're stupid. Share your link. I just can't share your link.
Oh, sorry. I started reading stuff when I got on here. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, don't do that. And we'll be talking about Ric Flair's penis. All right. Well, there's that.
Well, who's not? Who hasn't been?
As Schiavone once said, I think everybody has seen it by now. It's not really.
Well, he's got a point.
Just so everybody will know, this is the plan. We're gonna do a little warm up. Then we'll get into the plane ride from hell and the fallout from that. Then we'll talk some Owen Hart, and then we'll get to
Did you say some Owen Hart? No, some Owen Hart. Okay,
we're gonna go some Owen Hart.
Their long cousin.
Here he is, Samoan.
It's like Samoa Joe with a mask on.
Oh, what's taking it? Homer. And then we're gonna get to the shenanigans. You won't believe Vince Russo, after spending a shit ton of money on nothing, has launched his new website, which is going to be called Vince Russo's Attitude Channel or Channel Attitude or something like that.
Okay.
You won't believe who he signed up for this, and we have some previews of some of the audio that's going to be coming to the audio from the Attitude Channel.
I can't wait.
You won't. I don't even know how we got our hands on this, but it's going to be that's the plan for the. Have you actually seen the Monday Night Football with Eli Manning and Peyton Manning?
No.
Okay.
Purposely, I might add.
Because you hate them or what?
Well, no, I don't hate them. I think that's the point of me not watching them. I don't want to hate them because I think they're kind of shoved down our throats at this point.
Well, they are in a lot of commercials.
It's me.
No. They're a little over. There's a little overexposure issue with the two of them.
Okay, just checking.
And I'm trying not to say anything about Peyton's giant forehead, which you could show a movie on. That'd be kind of nice to see sometime.
Wow. Okay.
It'd be nice. Like if I was a parent, I would like to meet Eli Manning and have him stand in a park somewhere so I could take my kids so I could watch the Avengers on his forehead. That's what I would like to see. You have to watch it some Monday night because it's gonna, like tonight, Packers and Lions, a game you probably aggressively don't give a shit about.
No, actually, I was watching some of it, but I was watching it on the real Monday Night Football channel.
Okay, so you have to watch Peyton and Eli because it's barely professional. You have to. It's not cable access, but that there's a couple of people that are working on that crew who have been they quit their jobs and spent 3 years with Peter Jackson filming Lord of the Rings with the most sophisticated, technically advanced cameras in the world, and they're trying to get these two chuckle fucks to hit a brake for quits, right? And they can't get them to do it. They step on brakes. They try to they hustle them off. They try to get guests on. They can't. The camera angles. I mean, that to me, that's the beauty of it. The lack of professionalism is the lack of smoothness and the rusticness of it to me is the real charm of it.
So you're being serious.
I do. I know, because everything on ESPN on the main channel is all about, hey, we got this, and here's the play. This is sponsored by Amcor, and this, we got this, and this graphic comes in here, and it's they spent $700,000 to get the Chiron right and shit like that. Peyton and Eli were like, I don't want to be up in a booth somewhere in Denver in October. if you guys want to just build me a studio at my house and I can just talk about shit, and they're like, yes, and here's millions of dollars, and just they throw all the money at them, right? So they just sit there and they're doing shit, and and Eli's overly excited about, like, Cover Zero and shit. It's like you have to watch it because they had Brett Favre on there, and Eli was telling this story about sneaking into a bar where Brett Favre was when he was 16 years old and shit. Like, I swear to God, the lack of smoothness on this thing is the real beauty of the broadcast.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I guess I was just anticipating the worst, maybe, but like I said, I'm just kind of burnt out on them. But it's not, like I said, it's not that I don't hate them.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'll give them a shot, man. I'll listen to them if they're still playing when we get through recording here. So
no, it's over, but it's over. But you got to go watch the highlights because they'll have highlights all over the
place. When do they run them? I thought it was like they run simultaneous.
They do. They're on ESPN2.
Oh, they're already off. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. No,
I didn't realize it was as late as it was. Huh?
But they'll show you some highlights because they'll just do wacky shit. Like Peyton was putting on a Ravens helmet, and of course he's got a giant forehead that's too small. And then of course his brother's busting his balls, as he's been doing for 50 years now. Going, oh yeah, maybe they got a double, triple XL helmet they can fit you with over there, Peyton. And you do. I mean, they're really smart about stuff, and they'll run stuff back, and they're like, oh, why did the linebacker give up on that play? I don't understand why the linebacker gave up on that play. And they'll do shit like that. You'll learn things because they'll be like, oh, he's coming up to the line, he's calling this, and he's got these special menu. Like if he says the word laundry, then all of a sudden that means that changes everything, and then they have like one play they run, or he'll call two plays, and then if they don't want to go the first play, he'll go can, as in like trash the first play and call the second one. That stuff is like super fun. But
well, see, I love that shit. But here's the problem I have with it, and maybe it's because I'm being skeptical about shit. But I don't know where the line is on these guys, like those two, and say like Troy and
Tony Romo
and Tony Romo. Thank you, and guys like that. I don't know where their line is on being sincere and from the heart and just off the top of their head, footballish stuff, or is it contrived shit? No,
I think these two huckleberries are definitely all in. I don't think there's an ounce of insincerity. I mean, the football, obviously, from the time that they were in the womb, has been their entire life. It was how they were. They don't. I mean, you barely. I don't even know how they were able to make children. Their wife probably gave them a snap count and they fertilized them. I mean, I don't even know. So this is their whole lives, and they're just. And they love it, and they love the strategy of it, and they love trying to fool people and trying to do some. So yeah, I think all of that's super real because I don't think these people are.
I'll give it a shot next week. Then seriously, like I said, you've talked me into it, and I may like it now, but I'll give them a shot.
It's one of those.
Did I ever tell you that I've met their dad?
Did you met Archie?
Archie, yeah. Well, it was a phone call. I guess that is.
Well, nonetheless,
meet him. I don't know, but I was producing a show that he was going to be a guest on, and I was talking to him to put him on the air, and I just chit chatted with him a couple minutes before he went on the air, and he just, he seemed like their damn dad, man. Just like you're describing. Just
you should have said something obnoxious like, "You really screwed Jim Plunkett out of that Heisman, you jerk." And just hung up on him.
No.
You can't really work up a good lather about Archie Manning. He's just like too nice a guy.
I know. Well, see, I did. Somebody dared me one time in college when Drew Pearson was he was in our cafeteria. He was there speaking at on campus about something. I don't know why he was there exactly, but I can't even imagine that. It must have been some sort of uplifting kind of.
Or like
motivational. I don't know.
Christian athletes, something or other.
It of could be. I don't know, but it was. Somebody dared me to say, and I can't. God, what was the play now? Somebody dared me to yell it from the tape. We saw him in line, right in the cafeteria.
Hail Mary or the
I said something. One of them deals. Your foot was out of bounds, or something. And I just quickly put my head back down, and I was like, "Oh shit, I just really do that." And they're like, "He heard you. He heard you."
You just lost your parking space, dumbass. No good for you. So plane ride from hell. Have you seen Plane Ride from Hell?
About 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. What's when you first saw it? Okay, I'm gonna just tell you when I first saw it, and I was like, I didn't realize people were going to get in trouble for it. I didn't realize that.
What do you mean? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean so, but I just want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying. You didn't realize that they're going to get in trouble for what they did on the plane or what they were going to say about it, like AKA Tommy Dreamer.
Both. I didn't I mean, I thought the Tommy Dreamer thing that he said was completely outrageous, particularly when he goes into the ponytail situation to try to minimize all that. That was like, oh God, that's a bad look.
As co-host of the Brad and Britt show.
Yeah.
You know as well as I do.
Yeah.
That when somebody starts comparing shit to their ponytails.
Yeah.
I mean, and comparing, the Nazi comparison, the wearing mask and all that. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get into
exactly. Yeah,
you see it by comparison here.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
I felt like that was where we got to. Oh, that was the bridge too far. And the thing is, he may have said some stuff that was worse that they edited out. We don't know. We have no idea. There may have been more shit on there.
All right. First of all, yeah, and we also got to keep in mind. Note this is the same dude that was willing to literally. And when I say literally, I'm not talking about the kids on the TikToks and all that stuff. When they say literally, they say literally about everything. Yeah, when I say literally, I mean literally. This actually, he said this. What was it he said that he would do for ECW? I'll let you say it.
He wanted to get shot in the ring. He was willing to get shot in the ring.
With a bullet from a gun.
Paul Edward Heyman had to talk him out of that.
It was okay.
No, that's too crazy for me.
I'm done with you, son. I think I'll move on.
Did you hear the Bryant last line about that? Is he wanted to get shot on camera, and it turns out he shot himself in the foot on camera. So his
well, yeah,
his vision was revealed.
Yeah, there you go.
I knew. I was like, that's really kind of a dick move. I'm like, I mean,
that's why I went back and watched it a couple times or so, is because
to make sure,
right.
So the part where he goes like, well, I was with Ric Flair. Ric Flair never had to force himself on any woman ball. It's like, okay, that's not the point, and you're kind of out of bounds. You're kind of full of shit on that too. But okay, super. But then we continue on down the road and we go to the ponytail, and it's like, oh, now you're. And immediately TNA acted and they said, you don't need to show up for work for a little while. And then immediately he issued an apology. He being
you got to remember now, TNA, same company that this past weekend had that Knockouts Knockdown, all females. Mm-hmm. And here's Tommy Dreamer running his mouth.
That's right.
I'm sorry, but glad you pointed that out.
That's fair. And he immediately, I believe Tommy Dreamer was sincere in his apology. I believe that he realizes he went too far. He didn't realize it was saying and that he could hurt people. And he did not. I don't think prior to his interview, he saw the interview with that stewardess and what she was saying. So I think had he seen that, I don't know if he would have said those things, but I take him at his word that he's sorry.
Too. That's a good point too. I was always assuming that he had seen that, but
no, I don't. No. I don't think it. I don't know for sure, but I would think that no, perhaps he didn't see that, and if he did, then he may not have said what he said, and then after. But I take him at his word. He fucked up, and he's apologetic, and I think he should be allowed to make some amends because
sure. Well, I was told by one of our mutual friends today that he thought that apology seemed a little flat. Little insincere.
Reasonable people will disagree. I mean, reasonable and would he have apologized had his job not been threatened or suspended, or he would have received some sanctions? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I
don't either. That's a good point.
I hope that he's a good person, and I hope that going forward I've
always liked him. He's been a little with the bullet thing. He's been a little, out there at times, a little into the shit, but
a little overly committed.
Overly committed. But he seemed like a generally nice guy, and seemed like one of those guys at like a WrestleCade or something. It's easy to walk up to and talk to and shit like that,
Well, but I also like the part that disturbed me a little bit was when he's talking about the wrestling match between Lesnar and Kurt Hennig, and they go against the emergency door, and he goes, well, obviously we know now you're not going to be able to take the emergency door and push it off in mid-flight. And I'm like, oh, we know that? I don't know that.
I still don't know that. You can talk about physics all you want, but
if you give me like 1/2 inch of air that comes in there and it depressurizes the cabin, then we all die.
It's all effed up. Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea to lean on the emergency door and make the alarm go off mid-flight. That's me. That's just me.
Not just you, son.
I don't think when you have two 250-pound guys fucking around and like one of them slams the other against a door mid-flight, I just don't see that as being
at 35,000 feet.
Yeah, I don't see that as a positive thing, and I don't think that needs to be minimized or like, oh, it's fine, he can't take the door off, it's good.
No, man.
We're good.
Minimize it. I can't. I'm sorry, dude. I'm just sitting here to myself thinking, okay, I'm sitting on a plane thinking about these guys. I'm like, there's no way I could sit there. I mean, even if I was one of the boys and knew what was going on, like all those guys, in any situation, I couldn't sit there and be calm about it. I'd be like, oh my God, they're gonna go right through this shit, So, and even at one point they said what you said about, it doesn't necessarily mean the door. I mean, they could have cracked the fuselage itself,
It's not positive. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't fuck around. You guys are so stupid. We can't. No, fuck you. Fuck you. We're in midair traveling through. No, fuck you. And then the Scott Hall bit where he's just so fucking stoned and pilled out that they have to basically wheel him out in a wheelchair, and that was
Polacco did that.
Yeah, that's not good.
Somebody else said to me, nobody came out of this looking good. Nobody.
Well, this was the other thing too that got me like, JR was like, my God, if I never have to talk about the plane ride from hell,
that's, why? Because it makes him look bad too.
Dipshit, first of all, lawsuits were filed to shut all this up. So not all of us know the shit that you know. And basically it's been rumor and innuendo for a number of years. And then some people are still pissed off about this thing being stooged off. You have heard the stories now. People are saying that wasn't even the worst flight. That there was other shit that happened on other flights that was worse than that. You've heard people say that now, right? Over the past, over the past 72 to 96 to 120 hours, people are like, there were some flights that made that one look like, a McDonald's Playland or whatever, which I don't know. I think, and then it's like now there is a little bit of heat because I think Paul Heyman is the guy that gets blamed for stooging this one off, for like going to the office or getting somebody the Iggy about, oh, there's some bad shit that went down on this flight, yada, yada, yada.
You can't keep that shit secret for so long.
Well, I also think when the lawsuit lands on Jerry McDevitt's desk, it's kind of like, the cat's out of the bag at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty much donezo.
Hey, did something happen on the flight? Oh, you mean the lawsuit? Oh, well, So that brings us to our friend Richard Morgan Fleer, who has been, I don't know, a hero, an idol, someone we looked up. You and I, our entire lives growing up in the Carolinas, really, when we thought about wrestling, even in those days, that was like the first image that would come into your head was Ric Flair. He was the guy, and he's always been the guy, and he shall always be the guy. I think everyone by now knows the accusations that he went into, I think the bathroom of the plane, changed into his robe, had nothing underneath the robe, opened the robe, started swinging his dick around in a helicopter fashion to entertain the boys, which he did for a while. And then more troublingly, the stewardess, the flight attendant, whatever we're calling her, was in a small area where the drinks and food are. He approaches her, twirls the dick around, says he instructs her to touch it according to her. She is terrified, freezes, and he continues to make advances toward her. And this was the basis for the lawsuit. If you saw the woman's interview, I think she's entirely credible. It's obvious that this event has traumatized her, thinking back on it almost 20 years. It's obvious that telling this story now is no benefit to her. She's not getting a book deal. She's not getting, a Bud Light commercial out of this. I mean, she filed the lawsuit, and Tommy Dreamer, this was another dumb, like, why didn't she stick in there and try to get this guy punished within the fullest extent of the law? And that was a stupid thing. So she files a lawsuit. She says that her husband encouraged her to settle. They settled, got some money out of the WWE. I don't know if anybody else was paid, but again, I find her story to be credible, and I find that would be a shocking and traumatic event for a lot of women. There's no question in my mind that Ric Flair did the little twirling helicopter dick trick for a lot of women, and a lot of women were delighted by it and loved it and wanted more. I mean, and wanted to touch it and wanted to suck it and ride it and do all sorts of things. There's no question. I mean, that happened many times over the years. But
Space Mountain, woo!
I believe what Tommy Dreamer says. I believe that Ric Flair was not a guy who had to encourage anybody or make anybody act involuntarily when it came to his penis. I believe that. I also believe that, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this. Maybe they have. I think this is symptomatic of the lifelong addiction to alcohol that Ric Flair has had. To me, I don't believe, this is my own belief. You can call bullshit on it. Anybody who's listening or watching this can call bullshit. I don't believe that sober Ric Flair, seeing the terrified look on this woman's face, would have continued to do what he did. I don't think that happens without Ric Flair being ripped off his ass, drunk as shit. Do you agree with that? And that's not an excuse, by the way. That's an explanation.
Right. I would, well, I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would lean toward yes, though. You're right.
I think you and I and a lot of people who are listening, we've had experience with alcoholics in our lives, and out of context, people see the alcoholics and they stumble around or they puke or they make funny jokes and stuff like, oh, that guy's hilarious. And then that sort of behavior, when you deal with it at home on a daily basis, it's not funny. It's
right.
Just,
and when I say I hope
funny.
so, I meant that as I hope that it's not him and he wouldn't act like that as sober Ric Flair.
Correct.
But it's horrible that it's what it is, if indeed that's what it is, but it sure does seem that way.
So that's to me, that's part of the situation. And again, it's Ric Flair. It's so funny when he gets drunk. Ha ha ha. Well, to his family, I'm sure that there were moments of great pain over the years with him being drunk. Obviously, he didn't spend a lot of time at home, which is also another source of great pain for that family. You saw that Conrad sort of clapped back on me a little bit, right?
No, I missed that.
On the Twitter. He said that Chris Jericho did like the afterburn with Evan and Jason for this episode, so it won't be him doing the afterburn.
Oh, okay.
So I just put up the little emoji with the scratching my face, and he goes, no conspiracy. And I really wasn't saying anything. Mm-hmm. I've met Conrad years ago. He'll never remember, and he was delightful. And I don't have any animosity toward the man. I think he's I wish he'd lose about 100 pounds for his own safety and his own health, but that's, neither here nor there. As someone who was morbidly obese myself, I'm concerned about his health. But I was just putting the little emoji up and wondering, and I think it's fine.
Wondering why he wasn't on there, really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't find there to be a conspiracy theory. I think Conrad has had enough experience with his father-in-law to kind of know, look, I love the guy. The guy has opened doors for me. He's representative of this thing that I love called wrestling. But I also think that, having been married to Rick's daughter, he's kind of, and pardon me for the pun, but I think he's aware of the dark side of Ric Flair's life and all that entails. It's a very crooked path for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a winder.
And now those awful Car Shield commercials, which we've made fun of here, even those people who are selling a completely fraudulent, terrible product, even they said, We're going to
I saw
pause
one
that.
tonight.
Did you really? They said they're going to pause. They said they're going to pause their relationship with Rick and do their due diligence.
That's what caught my eye. Normally, I really don't pay attention or walk out of the room when a commercial does come on or something like that. But I saw the Eli Drake one came on.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe. And I watched it, and I was thinking it was just going to be him. Maybe they just the whole one just with him on there, but it was the same one with Flair coming in and decking him and starts talking about, so maybe that one slipped by somehow.
So there were, a number of rumors after he asked for his release from WWE, Ric Flair, that he did the NWA thing, and there were a lot of rumors that maybe he'll do some AEW stuff. All of that seems like it's on pause right now, and I don't know when any of that gets worked out. I'm not sure. And then you have a number of people who are bitching about the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Oh my God, who are they going to cancel next? Big Bird. It's such a white male privilege thing to whisper and cry about cancel culture. I mean, sometimes I agree things go too far. The thing that bothered me recently was that I think they've taken that Diversity Day episode of The Office out of the mix on cable and maybe on the syndication too, which is it bothers me a little bit because, first of all, that was really where that was like a huge monumental step forward, and that made The Office what it was in that first season. Such a huge episode. But okay, fine, if that's how you feel. Let me just say, if you receive consequences from your bad behavior, those are consequences. That's not cancellation. If a company doesn't want to be associated with you because you may have been a sexual predator and you may have used your penis aggressively against a woman who did not want your advances, that is a legitimate use of them and their association with you. So that's not cancel culture, and just stop like they're like a bunch of white male parrots. Cancellation culture, cancel, social justice, and it's all they can fucking do is cry all day long because they want this to be 1955 America when you could just tackle women and impregnate them, and then force them to bring the thing to term. So those are my thoughts on Ric Flair. I have to believe this is symptomatic of his lifelong alcoholism, which he has not really ever addressed, I don't think. And I'm not, again, not an excuse, but an explanation.
Yeah. And as far as the cancel culture goes, you got to remember too, man, a lot of those same people are the people that are science deniers. And science tells you that for every action, there's a reaction. So, that's what it is. It's a reaction. You fuckwads.
So I don't know going forward if does this change my feeling about Ric Flair? I mean, let's just say in the next 10 minutes, we get the text, Ric Flair dead, gone at the age of, I don't know what he is now. 70. I know like 75, 74, something like that.
Yeah.
And, hot off the tails of this, obviously it's going to, but let's just say nothing else controversial is said about Ric Flair, and then he passes away next summer. Do we still feel the same way about Ric Flair that we feel? I mean, I would like to think this is an isolated incident. I don't know if there are other women out there who have similar stories.
Come on, man.
You think there's other stories about this?
I mean, think about what all he has done and where all he's gone. Do you really think this is an isolated incident for him doing that?
What I would like to think, which I don't know if it's true or not, is that he fucked a lot of women who wanted to fuck him. That's what I would like to think.
Yeah, of course.
That like there's 3 women in the Omni, we pile into the limo, we go over to the Marriott, and we just go crazy and we spray, whipped cream on each other all night or something.
Dude, it probably happened more than once a week at some point,
but that's what I like.
I'm not denying that.
Right.
But there were probably times too that they were in situations like on that plane
Well,
with some unwilling female that was somewhere in the crowd, and him doing his robe thing or something similar. After having a few cocktails, come on, man. I maybe it was an isolated incident, but maybe not. I mean, I sound like JR when he was like, maybe Brock Lesnar did do it. Maybe it did happen.
Well, by God, if I never have to talk about the plane ride from hell, I tell you what, look, son of a bitch. I'm sorry this is really bumming you out and stuff, but this. And by the way, Ric Flair got you fired one time, JR. Don't forget that. Your buddy Ric Flair got you fired for that little video game panel where he went off. And guess what? He was drunk as fuck. He was off his ass. And you got fired because you couldn't control his ass.
Well, let's remember too that if he was director of personnel, or whatever that title was,
talent relations,
talent relations, same thing, yeah. Was that not his responsibility?
It has to be at some level, again. I also believe. I mean, and I take him at his word, and I think this is true. I can't follow him around and make sure that they're going, and not peeing on the seat cover. I can't do.
Of course
I
not.
can't do that.
Of course not. But was he not on the plane?
Well, he was in a different section.
Okay,
so that's when they had to bring him. They had to bring him back and go. You might want to check out the carnage. It looks like fucking Mad Max 3 that has been wrought in this 7-hour delay.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Okay. If I'm JR and I've been around the block a time or two at this point when this particular incident happened. So he knows what could possibly go on. And to be honest, I bet you there was a little something in the air that when they got on the plane that he probably had an idea that they were kind of in one of those moods.
Well, it's a 7-hour delay. It's a 7 fucking hour delay.
Okay, thank you. That was my next thing. They were delayed for 7 hours, so of course
there was no alcohol. Okay, there was no Netflix. There was no Hulu. These guys couldn't just sit there and just shotgun a bunch of episodes of Seinfeld. Of course they're going to get drunk. And I don't know about the halcyons and all that other shit. That's again fairly troubling. How
could he not be at least? If I was JR, I would be at least at this point. If this was where we were right now, and they were delayed and the alcohol was flowing like it was, I would at least have the cognizance. Again, being around the block like JR had at that time, it's not like he was some just.
It's gonna be Animal House. I mean, your point is let me stand up for him just for a moment. He goes behind the curtain and just takes the curtain back and goes, "All right, y'all, better be on your best behavior." And he closes the curtain. Don't you think that like gives some of them the impetus, like, "Oh, we're gonna fucking go nuts now. We're gonna
that's their ass then. Fucking fire. At least if he had done that, that would have been the minimum. Yeah. But at least he would have made some sort of effort to make his presence known, if nothing else. Now, of course, he can't make them do anything, but he can let them know that, you fuck up, then, you're going to be gone. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're fucking Ric Flair, Brock Lesnar, or goddamn Gilbert, you're gone. So I don't know. Maybe he did do that. Maybe he did do that.
But now very clearly he did say Ric Flair was not punished because he was a made man.
Right.
Now that's troubling.
There was a long damn pause after that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he had to think about well, why was Ric Flair not touched on this? Like,
God, I can't make anything up on this.
Ric Flair was untouchable. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, that's what you go through. He's untouchable. There's some guys that you're not going to fire. And at that point in time, as many times as Ric Flair has been fired, he wasn't fireable at that point in time. So that's a little troubling. And that's a little, I mean, everybody can talk about, oh, it's out of context. It was 19 years ago. It was a different time, blah, blah, blah.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a different time. I don't hear that one.
If you're gonna tell me that somebody's not gonna face consequences for this, that's gonna be a hard argument for me to make. Van Dam comes off okay in the thing. I thought Van Dam
might be the only one that comes out looking the best. Him and
first of all, it's like
incredible.
Just Incredible was good, but like Rob Van Dam could be like, well, if they would have just been smoking weed, they would have probably just like gone to sleep. They
wouldn't have said that. They said, "Cut."
What? Well, I don't understand. Now that will be the interesting part is when Jericho. I got into a thing on Instagram about this too, because Jericho, when Tommy Dreamer issues this apology on Instagram and he puts the photo up there, Jericho goes, "Forgiven." I'm like, well, first off, motherfucker, it's not up to you to forgive. It's not you. It's not your deal. So I kind of said something like that, and then of course his fans attack me and stuff like.
Of course, the damn cretins. They're gonna.
I haven't forgiven. Man. Like I haven't forgiven your mom, Jericho, for like trying to violently overthrow the government like 7 or 8 months ago. So
yeah,
it's like, oh well, he apologized. That's it. We're all good. We're absolved. Like, oh, what the fuck. So yeah, I got into a little bit of. Any other thoughts on the plane ride from hell?
That's funny. Just the fact that even though I knew a lot of that stuff, I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be stuff that was kind of rehashed, which some of it was, but the parts that were rehashed well, and I enjoyed it for as dubious of an episode as it was. I enjoyed that one. I learned a lot on that one.
Evan and Jason are very good. I mean, I was listening to them talk to Cornette, and the Chris Canyon episode. It looks like it's going to be pretty interesting, and some of the other things that are coming up look like they're going to be very interesting as well. So yeah, they're already off to a hot start with part 2 of this season.
That was a good one. That was a good one to kick things off, I think.
Because there's just been and people are this is what gets me about the wrestling business is people like Bruce Pritchard. When you get a nugget of truth and you're able to unearth some truth from this thing, they just bitch about the whole thing. Oh, it's not accurate. But all these guys do, like Pritchard, just do their best to try to cover it up and just try to make bullshit out of everything and not let you get to the real story of what happened. That's what guys like Pritchard do all the time.
Look what his position was, man. He was one of the ones that made the calls on a lot of this shit. So
it's preposterous. The big news about Owen Hart today with AEW and the Owen Hart Foundation, which is controlled by Martha Hart, have announced a new partnership, which will include the creation of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. The collaboration will also include production and distribution of unique and original Owen Hart merchandise like action figures, apparel, posters, other collectibles. He's also going to be in the AEW video game. Created in 2000 and run by Martha, the nonprofit foundation provides global aid to at-risk communities with scholarships, housing, food drives, backpack giveaways, and more. Owen was 34 years of age, Bryant, when he was killed during an accident while being dropped into the ring from a harness from the Over the Edge pay-per-view. That was May of 1999. Martha later sued the WWF, settled out of court. Dave Meltzer reporting that the settlement was $18 million. That's what she got for that. And this was Tony Khan in the press release. AEW's relationship with the Hart family dates back to our inaugural pay-per-view event, Double or Nothing, in 2019. Owen's influence is still felt today. To extend his memory and his legacy even further through this agreement is a powerful and meaningful moment for the entire wrestling community. This has always been a point of contention within the Hart family, as Brett and I think some of the other brothers have been critical of Martha for not letting the WWE induct him into the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. My take on this is that the only thing that WWE has is history. And now AEW is trying to grab that, because obviously this is a piece of history that the WWE has a little trouble accepting or acknowledging. AEW comes in and goes, everybody loves Bret Hart. Welcome to the family. We'll have you as part of our thing. That's part of, and it's very smart strategically for them, but it's also a great thing for the fans as well.
Oh, absolutely. Who doesn't say anything good about Owen Hart, for heaven's sakes? I mean, even before he passed away, I mean, everybody loved Owen Hart. So, yeah, good for AEW. I'm going to take this as a sincere move and not as a shot at WWE. See, that's my cynicism anymore, man. I think like that. You know, I think like, all right, is this a shot at WWE,
Bryant,
or is this?
No, you're being
meaningful?
you're being completely fair, because they've done like totally useless things that were complete shots at them at WWE, like the fucking thing with the sledgehammer and the throne that Cody did on that first pay-per-view. Oh my God. I mean, they've done stuff that was without question and unnecessarily shots at WWE that they didn't need to necessarily do in a competitive atmosphere. So I don't think you're going off the deep end with that at all.
I know. Well, thank you for saying that, but that's how I feel, but it sounds sincere, and I'm and as far as like the people who are in AEW, I take that as them being sincere, talking about the performers, not the office people. But I don't know. I'm going to accept it as a good thing.
And Tony Khan and AEW are on a roll right now creatively, and they've got a lot of momentum, doing great with those 18 to 49 numbers. Obviously, people who are interested in sports entertainment, pro wrestling, are talking about Bryan Danielson. They're talking about CM Punk. To an extent, they're talking about Ruby Soho, all the hot names in All Elite Wrestling. Now, when you and I were first, for the past couple of years, and we've thrown a few criticisms at Tony Khan, and we would say, he's a rich guy and he read a lot of newsletters. No. He's a key part of his dad's management team with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the front office. Have you noticed the shit show that is the Jacksonville Jaguars these days?
Yeah.
I'm going to recap, because I know that it's very much a blow to my ego that not everybody who's listening to this listens to every one of these podcasts that we do.
What?
Yeah, it's stunning.
Oh my God. How am I going to sleep tonight?
After having a really good draft in which they picked the logical number one player, which is Trevor Lawrence out of the University of Clemson. Clemson University. And then deciding we're going to start this guy from Jump Street. This is going to be our guy. We're going with him. They invite Tim Tebow, who is a failure as a National Football League player, to be a tight end, which is a position I don't think he's played 10 years. Anyway, probably since middle school.
At least, yeah.
And part of me feels like that was to own the libs. The Tim Tebow experiment, I think it lasted 2 weeks. I don't believe he ever made it to a preseason game, and he did not make it to the first cut on what is arguably the worst roster in the National Football League.
Arguably? Okay.
Again, okay. I'm being extremely conservative because that's what I am. I'm just a conservative.
Yeah. Don't kid yourself.
They hired a coach by the name of Urban Meyer, who has had a lot of success in college with the University of Florida and also Ohio State University. He's done very well both those places. In their first game, they weren't prepared to play. On a couple of times, they had to call timeouts in the first half just because nobody kind of knew what was going on in the huddle, and then they didn't have enough men on the field. It's been fairly disastrous. After the most recent loss, they're 0-2 on the season, which a lot of people expected. Urban Meyer is giving the speech, "Hey, fans, don't give up on us." I think this man's making $10 or $12 million a year to coach football. I think Urban Meyer is doing that. Because I know Gruden signed a $100 million 10-year contract, and I think Urban was like, I got to get a little more than Gruden. I got to do a little better than that. The rumors right now, I don't know if you've heard them, but you probably have because you're fairly plugged in this stuff, is that Urban Meyer has such a hard-on for this USC job, it ain't even funny right now. And he's like this close to getting the fuck out of Jacksonville and heading to LA. Like this, like one of those Bobby Petrino deals from the middle of the night in Atlanta, and all of a sudden they jet him in. It's like one of those deals. And of course, the kiss of death on this was that Urban Meyer said, "No way, no how, not going to happen."
Well, of course.
So that's so. If you're a betting man, I would say the odds of Urban Meyer finishing the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars as their head coach, no less than 5-1 against. I'm going to say, and probably more like 10-1 realistically.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't see his ego keeping him there.
This was the signature accomplishment. This was Tony Khan's signature accomplishment. He's been such a huge part of this National Football League franchise. And I'm telling you, it's an
AEW's come in and fuck things up for the Jaguars. Look at
that. I'm happy for AEW's success. But when you look at it, is the Jaguars thing really, is that a thing? Because it's not good. It's not, the product is not good. As I told you this like 6 weeks ago, I'm this close to feeling sorry for Trevor. I'm this close to feeling sorry for a guy who's making more money than anybody should ever be paid to play pro football, who could probably fuck any woman he wants to in the entire state of Florida, if not the East Coast, if not most of the United States. I mean, and again, he's rich, he's good looking, he's young, he's got a talent that people are dying for. He can go out on the street today and go, I would like to sign a $2 million contract for a pizza place. And they would just throw the money at him. Like, oh, yes, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He could do cameos. If he wanted to do cameos like for an entire day and make $7 million, he could do that. But I almost feel sorry for that guy being trapped in that organization.
Yeah, he didn't choose to go to Jacksonville.
If you think about it, the Jacksonville Jaguars are almost the WWE of the NFL. It's a place where you don't want to be. They don't know what they're doing. They can't put out a good product. Nobody can get over. He's their Roman Reigns. Like Trevor is their Roman Reigns right now. Honest to God. And if you did a poll of
Trevor's head of the table.
If you did a poll of all of the owners of the National Football League and you said, okay, it's unlikely anybody's going to be moving, but what is the most likely franchise to move to go to another city? I think they would win hands down. I don't think anybody else.
I think that's already been discussed in the past.
It has. I mean, and I don't know if Jerry Jones is ever going to allow anybody to move to San Antonio because but he should. I mean, San Antonio is always on the list. Portland's always on the list. St. Louis can get back on the list. You can do all of these things. We can even try. We're going to go for a Raleigh Durham if you want to go in there. One of those deals. It's always the same list of these markets that could go. And then at some point in time, it would be like, man, Tony Khan's really great. He orchestrated that whole thing for the Jaguars to move to Portland. What a great market.
You know what my theory is? I think they're holding them off, and they're going to move to London. I think they're going to end up being the first.
Now that's not a horrible theory, actually. That is not the worst thing I've ever heard, because he's already got the soccer team over there that sucks. Yeah. Didn't they get relegated?
I thought maybe they did.
I thought they got people don't know what relegation is. It's like you got the Premier League is the number one league in all of England, and then they've got a couple of leagues under that.
They're like the SEC over there, basically.
Yeah, it's the one, and then they take like the 2 or 4 worst teams, and they get sent down to the not so great league, and like the champions of the
kind of like Maryland did.
You're right, kind of like Maryland did. Maryland got shipped off to the Big Ten, and now the joke's on us because it's all going to be one big pie. It's just all going to be like one huge. And by the way, I can't wait to see the Maryland fans kicking Duke's ass again. That to me is the beauty of this great, huge GOM, as my mom used to say. This GOM that is going to be the Big Ten, the ACC, and the Pac-12. It's going to be so great.
I did enjoy that stuff. The Maryland. Dukes.
Because of course, the UNC Duke rivalry, nothing's like it. But the Maryland people, fuck, they go low as shit.
Man.
God, they're in the fucking gutter. And
even Tanya Hardy's going, damn.
Holy shit, man. It's like people's sisters and people's mamas and people's mamas' buttholes. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
y'all got zero fucks to give. Jeez.
Yeah. People don't understand. I don't think Maryland gets credit. Is that the word? Credit they deserve. Because they are the under the radar Philadelphia type.
Yes.
Fuck you crowd.
Baltimore wants to be Philadelphia Junior so bad. That is 100% spot on that one. That is so true.
Yeah. So, man.
So this is what we're going to do in closure, and I'm going to have to set this up properly. Normally I wouldn't, because comedy is a magic trick, and I try to keep the trick out. But I'm going to be Penn and Teller on this. I'm going to tell you how we're doing the trick. I'm going to do some of the voices that some of you are familiar with on our podcast. They're going to be as though they're on this Vince Russo Attitude channel. That's what he came up with. He's calling it Attitude. I hope
because who could get enough of that?
And by the way, super original. Good call. Because he invented it.
Yes.
Again, for people who have not been paying attention, Vince Russo has spent tens of thousands of dollars on a website he took over from the guys who used to be our network at the Realm Network, and we still can't figure out what he spent tens of thousands of dollars on. And it's still, and it didn't work for the longest time. I don't think it's even working properly now. This has been like a 2-month adventure, and he's dying. He's just dying right now. And my sincere hope is this results in a lawsuit. What should have been done is he goes to some web developer and goes, I'll give you $8,000, build me a website. Done. You can do that in 2 weeks or a month and have a functional website and have everything that you need. But no, he decided to do it the hard way. So I will be pretending as though he's got some of these huge stars on his podcast. When I'm in character as Vince McMahon or Ric Flair or Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm going to be saying things that are very offensive that I don't believe in. But asshole baby Vince Russo is very homophobic and misogynistic. So, and he likes to fancy himself as a champion of free speech. And that's what this Attitude channel is supposed to be.
Yes.
So I'm going to be saying completely obnoxious, idiotic things that would normally be offensive. But again, I don't mean any of it because I'm in character and I'm making fun of Vince Russo. I want to tell you that up front before you guys start listening to this stuff. And you think, oh my God, why did he say that about gay people? I don't believe that about gay people, but Vince Russo does. Vince Russo thinks being gay is weird and again the Lord and et cetera, et cetera. All that shit. Just as now, let me think. Because I had a thought on this. Okay, you're going to play the part of Jeff. You're going to play Jeff Lane, and I don't know if you've seen Jeff Lane on the videos, but Jeff Lane is basically just a laughing boy, and he goes, "Yeah, that's right." He does stuff like that. That's going to be your.
Play myself. Okay.
No, that's not what you do. No, you're the voice of the fan, and you can be like, yeah. And you also can add in really kind of tangential facts that don't help out the conversation at all. That's the Jeff Lane model. That's the Jeff Lane.
Gotcha.
That's what he does. And I've got for people who are watching, it's good because Jeff Lane's always doing one of those. He's always got the hat to the cock to the side.
Oh Lord.
He's always doing one of those things because he's super cool or whatever.
Well, my hat's not moving, so sorry.
He's been Vince's butt boy for far too long. I used to think he was a nice guy, but at this point, he's like he's in the Third Reich. He's like, he's the water boy for the Third Reich. So, even the water boy sometimes has to buy in, right?
Right. Especially he's been there long enough.
If you're the water boy for the Third Reich for like a couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, you had to do it so your family wouldn't be murdered and stuff. But if you're the water boy for the Third Reich for like going on 3 years or whatever, I'm sorry. I got no sympathy for you.
I hear you.
We'll begin. I'm going to start with Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Vincent McMahon has a show on the brand new Attitude channel. Do you want to hear what this sounds like, Bryant? This is amazing shit. I don't even know how we got this.
I don't either.
Welcome to the Vince McMahon show here on the Attitude channel. Attitude. Yeah, here it is. You can call us up 800 bite me. I'm not taking any phone calls. Fuck you people. First order of business. We're here on the Attitude channel. Plane ride from hell. A lot of people talking about the plane ride from hell. And somebody writes in and says, Vince, do you have any regrets about the plane ride from hell? Hell no, I don't. God damn it. I wish I'd been on there putting halcyon in people's drinks and fucking around with people and twirling my dick around. That's what I would have done. What do you think about that, Jeff Lane? Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, that was good. Even when you have flight attendants coming on and saying the exact opposite.
Here's what I would have done in that situation. Touch my dick! Touch it! Touch my dick! And I'm like, how many people do you think? God damn it.
Why didn't you send JR back there?
I don't know why. JR's a piece of shit and I hate him. He looks like a retard. I hate JR. I don't like the way he looks on my TV. I don't like the way his face looks. I like making fun of that piece of shit. He's a piece of shit! You're a piece of shit! That's what I say. I hate JR so much. Now he's over there getting Tony Khan's money. I don't even know who Tony Khan is. I don't know. Edit that out. I don't even know that little son of a bitch is. That little queer boy fruit. I don't like him at all. I like the fact that his father gave that money to Donald Trump. Yeah, that's good. I talk a lot about being gay. And some people said, Vince, why do you talk about being gay? Truth is, I don't have a problem against gay people. I said to Pat Patterson one time, I said, I love you, Pat. I don't care if you like to take it in the pooper. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me. You know why? One time I gave it to a guy in the pooper. I don't know if you know this story. You know this story?
No. Never heard this one.
I was up in my mansion in Connecticut. We were having poker night. And I think I halcyon this guy. I'm not going to say who it was. But his character, well, his name rhymes with Schmim Pelbig. So Schmim Pelbig, he passed out. And I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. So I took his pants down, I started fucking him in the ass. Fucking the ass! And we had some people around the table, and they said, Vince, why are you doing that? I went, because I'm gay, because I like to be dominant. Look at this! Look at this right here. I'm going to tell you about another thing that happened to me that was kind of gay one time.
I'm speechless, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, some crazy shit that goes on in world wrestling entertainment. One time I was having a little problem, and I was in my office, and it was one of those times that Russo was crying. He was like, I'm doing too much work, blah, blah, blah. And I went, Russo, I'm going to fire you. You're, And he goes, no, Mr. McMahon. I'll do anything. I'll do anything to keep my job. And I went, all right, Vince, suck my dick. I plopped it out there, and Vince Russo sucked my dick. And let me tell you, I knew it wasn't the first time he'd done that because he was too good at it. Too good at it. He was better than Linda. Well, you've been doing this before. But before I finished, I took it back. Give me that. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve for me to finish. Get the fuck out of my office. We'll be back after a break on the Vince Russo Attitude Channel.
That was some wild shit. You don't get to hear that like on Sirius or anything like that.
Wow, man. They must have told him just let it loose.
Cheap, man. I'm glad those guys are protecting free speech, man. I got to be honest with you.
Well, that's what it's all about. That Fifth Amendment.
And I always said this about comedians that worked blue. I mean, the guys that worked clean, I always thought were so much more. Your Seinfelds, your Jim Gaffigans, and, your Brian Regans, amazing guys, and just like so talented. But I also, I loved Carlin,
Richard Pryor.
Yeah, because you get to paint with all the colors on the spectrum, And I think that's what they're trying to do with the Attitude Channel. Now this is amazing to me.
A rainbow, if you will.
Yeah, the whole rainbow. This is what's amazing to me. Nobody else is touching the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Ric Flair actually has a brand new show on the Attitude Channel. No, they got him signed up. Wait till you hear this clip of the Nature Boy Ric Flair with Jeff Lane. Are you ready to hear this?
I don't know what I can imagine. Yeah,
Let's go ahead and go to this. This is brand new content on Vince Russo's brand new Attitude Channel. This is Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! And you're listening to All Night Long on Attitude Channel with Vince Russo. Woo! I don't have any idea how this podcast works. How you doing, Jeff Lane? You're the night train, Jeff Lane. Woo!
You don't have any night train over there, do you? There.
I've been drinking
Nate?
the night train, and I've been getting some bitches to ride the night train all night long. Woo! Now
Are we going to
there's-
hear about? Are we going to hear about the plane ride from hell from you?
Listen,
too?
I'm glad you brought that up. And let me just say to those people at what's the name of that damn rip-off car thing that I was involved with, car care, whatever it was.
Was it the car shield? Is that what
Yes.
it is?
I would like to say to Car Shield, from the bottom of the nation boy's heart, I am sorry. I'm sorry I ever associated with a bunch of fucking losers like you. Woo! Y'all suck. It's a ripoff, and I don't even know who the fuck Eli Drake is. That's how I feel, and that's how it is. Look, I know that there's a lot of stuff that was been said about me on the dark side of the plane ride from hell. And let me just say this, that was all lies. Nature Boy was never, ever, ever. Let me just say this one time. I would flap that dick around. One time I flapped my dick around like a helicopter, and I actually became airborne. Woo! And I was like, oh shit, I've already been in one plane crash. I don't want to be in a helicopter crash. Let me just go down. Woo! But a lot of people say, let me just say this.
Tommy Dreamer did say that you had a hammer.
It was yes. In fact, I was pissed off at Greg the Hammer Valentine for taking my name. I was going to be Rick the Hammer Flair. Woo! And I said, okay, Valentine, you can have that one. Woo, motherfucker. A lot of people say that's a nature boy. A lot of people say that the nature boy was a womanizer. But I would like to tell you about this one time that the nature boy had a homosexual experience. Are you ready to hear about this night train, Jeff Lane?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm up for this, Nate. I don't know if I can handle this.
This happened back in 2000 in WCW when Vince Russo was running the show and he was burying me in the sand to try and write me off. You remember that shit?
Oh, I'm aware. Yes.
He was burying me like a motherfucker. And he said, Nate, I need you to get in the ring tonight to get this thing. It's going to be a tribute to Arn Anderson. It's going to be a salute to the Four Horsemen. And I said,
it's going to be a salute. It's
the
going to be a salute.
Four Horsemen. How could you not know the 1, 2, 3, 4 horsemen? How can you
to
not
make sure
get
I heard
that?
you right.
Night Train Jeff Lane, you are intruding on my story. Woo!
Sorry, Nate. Go ahead.
So I said, Vince Russo, you have tried to bury me. I will not be in the ring unless you suck my dick. And Vince Russo goes, Nature Boy, it's so important to me, bro. I will suck your dick. So I did. I let him suck my dick, Bryant. And I'm going to be honest with you. The way he did it, I knew he had done it before. He was an experienced dick sucker called the Nature Boy. Knows about oral sex, giving and receiving. Woo! Vince Russo sucked my dick. And at the end, I said, no, I'm taking it back. You do not deserve the Nature Boy's sperm. Woo! So you only go half ride Space Mountain. So I got in the ring. I did this segment. And it was an amazing segment, one of the highest rated things of all time. And the Nature Boy cashed another check. Isn't that an amazing story to hear right here on Vince Russo's Attitude Channel?
That was tremendous.
Okay, we'll be back in a moment after this message from Dr. Pepper.
Holy shit, that was
Where did you get this shit, man?
I don't know.
Unreal.
Man. I can't. I've got a mole within that organization.
Apparently.
To be completely honest with you, I've got a mole, and it's impressive they got Dr. Pepper to advertise on that thing.
Now,
That's a big deal. I don't know. If I was Dr. Pepper, it would be kind of content I'd want to associate with it. But if that's going to sell Dr. Pepper, then
that's where their market is with,
the last piece of audio that I got that was sent to me.
We've got more Shit.
Yeah, this is the last one. I mean, this is a really good preview. I don't know what he's charging, but my God, if it's less than $100 a month, you would have to subscribe to this stuff. You're getting some of the biggest stars in wrestling on Vince Russo's Attitude channel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Now you would think, yeah.
You won't believe who he got this last presentation. Because we already have, like, Ric Flair is like the greatest to us of all time. He's going through some legal problems. No, not legal problems, but going through some problems now and stuff. And we talked about that. But I want you to think of the biggest draw in professional wrestling history.
Okay.
Who's the biggest, the guy that sold more pay-per-views, more merchandise, and more, at least in our lifetime. I'm not talking about, like, obviously he can't get John Tolos. He's dead. He can't get that guy. He can't get Luthez. Luthez is dead. The biggest guy in our lifetime.
I would have to go with, the person who made the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
It'd have to be Stone Cold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is doing a show on the Attitude Channel. Can you believe that shit?
Unreal.
Can you
How
believe
did he lure him over there?
I don't know what he had to throw at him to get him. I mean, I know that they were kind of co-workers for a hot minute over there at Podcast One. But Stone
That was
Cold,
a hot minute.
That was. But Stone Cold Steve Austin has got a brand new show, and he's doing it with Jeff Lane again. I mean, Jeff Lane's he's working his ass off. He's got the Brian Last, Conrad Thompson schedule. So do you want to hear a little bit of the Stone Cold Steve Austin show on the Attitude? Let's see. Let me go ahead and start this.
Cue that bitch up.
It's Stone Cold Steve Austin on Vince Russo's Attitude channel. Give me a hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sip of water for the working man. How you doing today, Jeff Lane? You doing good?
Stone Cold, I couldn't be better. We're glad you're here.
Tell you what, you son of a bitch. It is good to be back in the driver's seat here, protecting free speech and doing everything we need to do. A lot of things in the news these days. Had that big insurrection rally turned out to be a piece of shit. It didn't turn out to be a goddamn thing up there. There was more police officers, cameramen, and women than there was people. Y'all look like a bunch of monkeys humping a football up there, you pieces of shit. What you think of that, Jeff Lane?
Well, Stone Cold, Mr. Trump told him that it was a setup. So that's why probably there wasn't a whole lot of people there.
God, I love Donald Trump, but I think he's right. It was a big setup, and I just hope we can get Donald Trump back in office. All of y'all that are out there, and you're not taking you're not taking that vaccine. You're my hero. Don't take that goddamn vaccine. You tell them to take that thing, and you shove it up their candy. Oh, wait a minute. I'm ripping off somebody else's gimmick. Can't do that. Gimmick infringement. Don't want to do that shit. There's just some. What about that University of Texas football team? Is that a piece of shit right now, Jeff Lane, or what?
Well, they did make a little comeback this week after they rubbed the floor with rice, but I know what you're saying. I think they underestimated Arkansas.
That goddamn drunk Steve Sarkisian, he needs to get the hell out of town.
Well,
He needs to get the fuck out of town, go back to USC, take that job, and run that shit into that goddamn ground.
Why don't you just go have some Steve Weisers with him?
Gonna have some Steve Weisers, gonna have another Steve Weiser. What? Gonna get you fired? What? Gonna get you on the bus to USC? What? Gonna have you losing to Notre Dame? What? Gonna have you losing to UCLA? What? Gonna have you just fucking up all of the South, man. You piece of shit. You know, a lot of people want to hear stories about me from the Attitude Era. Jeff Lane.
All the time.
I got an interesting story from the Attitude Era. You ain't gonna believe this shit.
Uh-oh.
I was backstage one time, and Vince Russo, of course, he gave me everything that I was, made me into the man I am today. Made Stone Cold Steve Austin into a goddamn national treasure. That's what Vince Russo did. Every word that came out of my mouth come from Vince Russo. Vince, I love you. One time we were backstage, and he pitched me some sort of goddamn idea or other. And I said, Vince, I ain't going to do this shit. That's a bunch of bullshit. Stone Cold would not say that. Stone Cold would not do that, you son of a bitch. He said, Stone Cold, what do I got to do to get you to do this promo? I said, God damn it, Vince Russo, you got to suck my dick. I'll be goddamn if that Long Island, New Jersey piece of shit didn't get right down on his own knees and they took the Texas rattlesnake right in his mouth.
No, he didn't.
And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to find this hard to believe. He did it in a way that made me think that he's done that shit before. He had some experience.
Well, there might be some truth to that. We don't know. He kind of alluded to that in his show earlier. I don't know if you heard.
God damn it. I'm going to tell you, he was better at it than Deborah was. That's for damn sure. You son of a bitch.
Gosh, that seems to be the theme.
So what happened was he started sucking my dick before I finished. I went, ah. Austin 316 says, you don't get it. Put it back in my trucks, went out there, cut that promo, and we sold the fucking place out. How about that, you son of a bitch? How about that for a story here on the Attitude Network, right here by Vince Russo?
I think you just went heel on us.
I didn't turn heel, goddamn. Well, actually, when I turn heel, you'll know, son of a bitch. I won't be no goddamn blowjob babyface son of a bitch. Vince Russo, everything in my life I owe to you. Every word that came, every move, every goddamn thing that I did. I'm going to say it like Brian Adams. You know it's true. Everything I do for you. And now, this word from Team Realtree.
God, man, you got some, holy shit.
That's amazing.
That was a shocking, I can't even believe that.
God, pulling in these sponsors already? God.
Team Realtree is huge. You know how many hunters? That's like a multi, let's say they must have millions of dollars in sales.
At least.
That's stunning.
Unreal.
I don't see how this venture from Russo I don't see how it's going to fail.
It's got a beeline for the top, man.
These are like this is like some of the biggest shows, some of the biggest stars in wrestling. I think this is going to be a big deal. I think it took him a long time to get there, but certainly wasted a lot of.
And that could be just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows?
There's got to be a lot of other people he's gonna. Who knows? He might get JR to do a show. He might get some other folks to do a show.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty amazing. Anything to leave us with after that stunning bit of audio there? Any other final words on another award-winning episode of Katie Vick is Alive?
I got nothing after that. I'm good.
Bryant is on social media, as most people are. At Bry Sports, BRY Sports, Instagram, and also on Twitter. He's on TikTok, Stanley Jackson 23. Our show is on Twitter at Katie Vick Alive. That's at Katie Vick Alive. I'm on Twitter at Britt Whitmire. I'm on Instagram, BDub for Reels, BDUB 4, REELZ. And to support us, you can hit our Amazon link. That's at katievick.com. katievick.com. So go ahead and hit that. It's very easy to do that. We appreciate all of your support. And I hope you enjoyed that preview of Vince Russo's Attitude channel. It's going to be pretty amazing. Till next time, fans, we'll see you ringside.